If you've tried to buy a PlayStation 5 since it released almost 2 years ago, crazy to think that at the end of this year, these systems, these new ones, are going to be 2 years old. But yeah, since the beginning, if you tried to buy one, you know it's been pretty much impossible. Selling out instantly the moment any stock becomes available at retailers, and they fetch high prices from scalpers on sites like eBay, even still today. So when it comes to combating this, simpletons like me thought, hey, Sony, you should probably try to make more systems, get them out on store shelves so you don't have this problem. People can easily walk into stores and buy them. I think that would be a great thing. But they're actually taking a much different approach. Instead of focusing on getting more consoles on the shelves, they're cutting out the middleman. Now, they're just going to be the scalpers and are raising the prices of the PS5 systems in most major regions, not here at least, USA. But yeah, in many parts of the world, if you're not fortunate enough to live in the United States, you are likely seeing a price increase on the base PS5 system. They're not changing anything about the console. They're not bundling some games or something with it. No, you're just getting a flat price increase. So here are some of the new revised prices. I'd note, because I don't really know what all the exchange rates are for these different currencies, but the euro increase is 50, and the euro and the dollar are pretty close right now. It's currently 500 euro over there, like it's 500 bucks here. So yeah, if this carried over here, the price change would look pretty similar, up about 10%. Quite substantial if you ask me, especially for something that is, again, almost 2 years old, and they are not adding anything to it. I mean, I'd be expecting a price cut or once more some sort of sweet bundle deal coming within the next 3 years or so. Because again, that puts us at 5 years. And I guess they may still end up doing something like that, but for many places, it'll just bring the price back to where it was originally. Man, I think this is such a bad move, even as a business decision. Obviously, we know why they're doing this, money, but I think especially long-term, even in that case, this is a bad play. So that's what I want to talk about today. For one, let's start with the whole argument over why they're doing this. They say this is because inflation, which is inflation a problem across the world right now? Yes, 100%. Are prices going up? Yes. But that's happening differently depending on what we're talking about, and not on literally everything. Entertainment in general. I mean, I buy movies. The prices of Blu-rays and DVDs haven't gone up. Games, I guess you can say you got the $70 price tag on some of those next-gen games, but that's been a thing. That was always going to be a thing, and still, for the most part, games are about where they were. So, no, not everything is going up, or at least going up significantly, and not really in this arena. And video game consoles are still a very different animal because, as we all know, these systems are already sold, typically at a loss. Like, these companies already lose money on each system sold. There are rare examples, Nintendo getting everyone to buy a second GameCube, essentially, because the games let you wave your hands around like a weirdo. Yes, the Wii made huge money, but usually, especially when they're new, the consoles cost more to make than they sell for, and that's because the big money in gaming is in software, the actual games. And for these companies, getting a piece from all of the games sold on their platform is where they make the big bucks. And obviously, if you sell more consoles, you'll probably end up selling more games. So it's not like this is an area where they're needing to turn a profit to begin with. And as of right now, most importantly, your direct competitors in this exact arena, Xbox, Microsoft, and Nintendo, as of now, aren't raising the prices of their systems. Especially with Xbox not doing it. The Switch is being so old, that's over 5 years now. That'd be pretty messed up if they just went and jacked up the prices of that. But the Xbox Series S and X systems being newer, and also the more direct competitor maintaining the same prices while you do this price increase, that's not good. Now, this could change, but again, I really doubt it. Like I said, Nintendo, the Switch being so old, it'd be an even worse look than what Sony's doing. And Microsoft, on the heels of this announcement by Sony, took the opportunity, almost felt like some payback maybe over the old here's how you share games on PlayStation bit. yeah, they just randomly decided a few hours after this announcement to put out a statement saying that there are no plans to increase the price of Xbox systems. Which, yeah, I don't think is surprising given that they're already dumping so much money to make themselves more competitive in this space that I doubt they're worried about taking more of a hit when it comes to the consoles. Like I said, they're already taking a hit. What's a few more bucks? And that's actually where I think things get scary for Sony and why I think this is a bad move, a bad business decision again, because like I said, this whole console thing, it's really about install base and market share for software, not about profiting from the actual console sales. And I think a lot of Microsoft and Sony decisions lately favor Microsoft. It's extra funny too because I just did that video last week talking about how the PS4 stomped the Xbox One by at least a factor of 2 to 1, something Microsoft had to admit in court. But I did end that video by saying Microsoft is making way smarter moves this gen, and the tide could be changing, and this is one more thing that I think could push people towards the Xbox ecosystem. Just at the outset of this gen, Xbox made sure to come out with the more powerful system, the Series X. In terms of on paper, the systems are pretty close, but it does edge out the PS5 in some areas. But they also, I think this was a smart decision, that they offered an actual budget system with the Series S. It's Series X, Jesus. Yeah, Series X and S are the new thing. I don't want to confuse them with the Xbox One X and S. The naming scheme, I'll admit, still sucks, Xbox. We got to work on that. But yeah, that I think was a way smarter route, a way better way to go than what Sony did with the disc and discless all-digital system. Like, the digital PS5 just seems like a ploy to push people into going digital. I think having an actual budget model that is, yes, less powerful, but even more significantly cheaper is better. It is more interesting. Beyond that, Game Pass is absolutely the best value in gaming right now. The library there is insane. Microsoft offers all of their exclusives on their day one, which, to be fair, the Microsoft exclusives the last few years haven't been the greatest. I certainly don't think Microsoft's first-party stuff has been on par with Sony's, but they are there day one, and they're getting some outside stuff to show up on day one as well. On the Sony side, with their new PlayStation Plus, Premium, Essential, whatever tiers, you need to be subscribed to the new Premium highest tier, and you can get trials of their new games, but you're definitely not getting stuff like Horizon Zero West, the upcoming God of War Ragnarok, anything like that on the service, at least not for a long while. Plus, when it comes to the back catalog stuff on these systems, Sony is just so far behind. Their classic offerings are a joke, and having the PS3 games be cloud only is a huge L for them as well. You compare that to Microsoft, not only does it have 360 and original Xbox backwards compatibility, but those games, even if you don't want to be subscribed to their service to play stuff, you can put the physical Xbox 360 and OG Xbox discs in there. Just, again, in this arena, it's not even close. But that gap with these offerings is about to get way worse because Microsoft recently, they did a bit of shopping, had some quick pickups of just, two of the biggest studios in the entire gaming industry, Bethesda and Activision. Now, the Activision deal is still going through some approval stuff, but it's looking good. I think they'll get it done. Obviously, with a deal like this, they consulted tons of legal experts to make sure it was likely to go through. And we know all that stuff is going to be coming to Game Pass day one, which is just insane. Even stuff that a lot of it will be multi-platform. It'll be on PlayStation. Not all of it. Starfield, for example, is going to be, I think Starfield is the first big Bethesda game that is going to be put out like in the post-Microsoft deal era. Skyrim in space. I hope it's good. I love the idea. The gameplay did look kind of jank, though, I'll admit it. And with these Elder Scrolls and Fallout games, we know they're not the most bug-free, especially at launch, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But either way, getting stuff like that, future Doom, again, Elder Scrolls, Fallout games, being released on their service day one, possibly being exclusive to their platform, is massive. But even with the stuff like Activision, their big franchise is obviously Call of Duty. They said Call of Duty is going to remain multi-platform for now, but again, those games are going to be included with Game Pass, so you can buy it for 60 or 70, whatever it is on PS5. Or if you're subbed to Game Pass, you're playing it on Xbox day one included. And this whole mentality, if Sony doesn't have the resources, the means to compete with them, is just going to make things worse and worse. Because you take something from the Sony side, right? They bought Bungie, who has Destiny 2. And if things continue the way they are, put it this way, if you're a fan of the shooty bang bang games, perhaps you want to play both the Destiny games and Call of Duty. Well, when it comes to Call of Duty, and I'm sure all these games will have some exclusive content on the platforms of the companies who own them, like Call of Duty will probably have some exclusive Xbox stuff, and Destiny will have some exclusive PlayStation stuff. But when we're just talking about the games, again, with the way these ecosystems are set up, when it comes to Call of Duty, you can pay the $70 to play it on PlayStation 5, or on Xbox, you could also pay the $70 if you want to own it, but you can play it on the Game Pass service with the subscription. Destiny 3, let's say, is going to cost you $70 to play on Xbox, but it's also going to cost you $70 to play on PlayStation 5. Because, like I said, with games like Horizon Zero West, God of War Ragnarok, all their big games, your only option is to still pay full price for them if you want to play them on day one. So you see where, as things stand right now, where this can head into some really rough territory for them. And again, you take something like a Call of Duty especially, and you have people who criticize the whole Game Pass thing, like, oh, you shouldn't be subscribed to that and you don't own the games or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I know you don't actually own any digital games that whether you've purchased them or you get them through a subscription. But Call of Duty, I think, is a perfect game for this type of model, because a new Call of Duty game releases pretty much every year. I think they still do that, or it's at least every other year. I don't really know. But regardless, you have many people who they buy the new Call of Duty game day one at full price. They play it for that 1 year, and then when the new Call of Duty game comes out, they put that Call of Duty to the side and just go and play the new one, and so on and so on. And so now it's like, and I think this is the kind of stuff people aren't really focusing a lot, because for one, it's not happening yet, but once it starts to play out, I think it's going to be a big focus, because again, especially with a franchise as big as Call of Duty, like, I mean, how could anyone who plays this series not be enticed by that? Like, hey, instead of blowing $70 every year, why not subscribe to this service that's, like $10 a month for the base tier with all these other big titles included, or play it on PlayStation, where you could almost say you're paying a $70 per year subscription for the one franchise if it's a yearly release. Yeah, that stuff, once that all starts getting kicked into gear and people start realizing, especially for those type of games, the value, I think it's going to be really tough for PlayStation to compete with that offering. But no, to compete with that, Sony's just going to raise the price of their system. Now, I'm not saying that this is like the death nail for Sony. I think also, like, the reason they didn't do the price hike in the US, because we have inflation too, but I think the reason they didn't is partially because that's where Xbox is their biggest competitor. It's not going to all of a sudden turn the tide in a place like Japan. All the Japanese players aren't going to be like, oh, screw PlayStation, we're all going to buy Xbox now. In the country where like 3 Xboxes sell every month. And they know that. Also, for now, certainly the systems are going to keep flying off the shelves. Just because of this price increase, it's still better than paying a scalper double the price for a PS5. But like I said at the top, it's another step in a long line of dumb things they've been doing. Their censorship nonsense lately is another big thing I think that turns a lot of people off. Again, with these studio pickups by Microsoft, feels like they've been caught pretty flat-footed. They've made some good ones themselves with Insomniac, Bungie, like I said, who make great games, but being real, those aren't nearly on the level of what Microsoft got with Bethesda and Activision. I mean, Sony would need to get Square Enix, Capcom, and like 1 or 2 more big ones to really be on that level. I mean, that's how crazy that was. It doesn't look like they're going to go that ham. Maybe we could see a big one like a Square Enix, but I don't think you're going to see multiple huge ones from Sony. And don't think, guys, this is something to be clear when I talk about these acquisitions, because when I do, I get people being like, oh, well, I don't like the acquisitions in general. Don't you want the companies to remain independent? And Microsoft hasn't done well with many of them, like Rare. Yeah, I'm in that camp too. I bitch about the downfall of Rare all the time, but what we're talking about here are the, once more, business decisions. Would I rather many of these companies remain independent? Of course. But does it make business sense for Microsoft and Sony to buy them? Also, of course. Okay, so let's be clear about that. But yeah, things overall I don't think are moving in a good direction for Sony. I think they're still going to do well overall this generation, but it looks like they're cashing in on a lot of the goodwill they built up with people over the course of the PS4 generation. And so I could see Microsoft taking back the crown by the end. And again, thinking long term, with seeing the moves Microsoft is making as the main direct competitor, I think like going into the next gen could be very scary for Sony, especially if Microsoft continues. I mean, just because they're buying these studios, which are insane, doesn't mean they're done. They may not buy many more big ones because, again, this Activision deal getting held up. Future big purchases like that are going to be even more of a problem, but certainly smaller studio pickups, and if they make even more of these games exclusive to their platforms, that's going to be hell for Sony and the PlayStation systems. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on the PlayStation 5 price hike in the comments. Do you think this is a bad move? Does it affect your decision if you were planning on buying one? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.